According to the dictionary definition, boring is repetitive, it's dull, it's tedious, and what else did they say? Not interesting. But I'm here to tell you that boring is beautiful and wonderful. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this video anyway, especially if you're over 40. A lot of us, the older we get, we realize how boring, oopsie, sorry, touch the microphone, how boring is so good. Boring is beautiful. Boring is the nature of life. Life itself is repetitive. Yes, it goes in seasons and the seasons change and the weather changes and, conditions do change, but there is a cyclical nature. And so through that change, there is repetition, there is predictability, and life just repeats. It's sun up, sun down, it's another day of eating. It's all the same shit, different day, as they say. And I want 2025 to be my most boring year ever, ever, ever. And I think you probably would want the same, especially if you're watching this video, because you know that at the end of boring comes rewards. All the rewards you want come through the boring, repetitive actions. And I use the word boring in air quotes because boring is not actually that boring. We have associated boring with being dull and tedious. The other synonyms for boring are repetitive, daily, like dailiness. What is the words here? I've actually written them down. Monotonous, repetitious, repetitive, unrelieved, lacking variety, vanilla, plain, nondescript, uneventful. So boring has both negative and positive connotations in my mind. The repetition, the same old, it can feel boring, but there is such beauty in it because then you know what you're going to do, you know what you need to do. It's routine. And who thrives well on routine? Children. And in fact, so do we all. We all thrive on routine. And so I want to make this year my most boring year ever, the most year of routine, the year where I know what I'm going to do and I'm just going to do it. And I'll get shit done. Getting shit done is on the other end of boring. You have to just go through the motions, go through the days, do what you know you need to do. And that is how most of us achieve success. Success very, very rarely, like in small percentages, just happens by magic or overnight. Most success stories are the result of people putting in the action day after day, year after year, all that tiresome, repetitive, boring work, answering emails, making phone calls, writing scripts, plodding along, filing taxes, I don't know, all the things that we all do. You can build your dream body through all the boring actions, eating the healthy foods, going to the gym on a regular schedule, not too much, not too little. And it does get mind numbing. And therein lies the rub. For a lot of us, we're like, oh, I've done this 1,000 times. Why is this so boring? But it's our minds that we need to just tame and calm down. And we need to teach ourselves, I think, at least for me, I need to train myself. Let me speak for myself. Train myself to fall in love with the boring. And I often resist the repetitive nature of every day. And yet I love it. I love it as well. And so this year, I really want to come to terms with boring and boredom because boredom, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I like to have those hours of uneventful, free-flowing time where my mind can just wander. But you know what it's like. In the back of your mind, that voice goes, you should be doing something. You should be more productive. And then it sort of seeks excitement and variety, and you actually end up wasting a lot of time chasing the thrill, chasing the new clothes, the new car, the new house, the new job, the new partner, the new nightclub, restaurant, whatever it is. We chase the thrill of the new, but we actually end up wasting a lot of time that way instead of just sitting with the boredom, which is what I aim to do this year. But I thought for fun, we could go through a list of all the areas in your life that you can be boring. This is my plan for 2025. I want it to be boring because life itself, I find, is inherently boring. And the minute you accept that, it's calm. Like the minute you accept the thing you don't want to accept, you feel a sense of peace. And I've written down here, so let's look at food. Obviously, if you eat boring foods, I mean, they're not boring, but they become boring if you eat them day in and day out. The healthy foods, fiber-rich foods, lean proteins, fruit and vegetables, that is the way to get healthy. If you eat these foods day in and day out, you will achieve weight loss and health success. It's easy, but it's boring. And that's why we don't do it, because these foods don't spark a little party in our mouths. They don't spark the woo and sugar and fat and the combination of sugars and fats and restaurant food and takeaways. These are the exciting foods that give us the thrill, or maybe it's the dopamine or the serotonin. I don't know what it is, but these foods that we go, ooh, and we crave them. These are called the fun foods, the exciting foods. But the way to health and the way to weight management and weight maintenance is in boring food, food that comes from nature. So I want to be boring this year. I want to eat the boring foods 9 times out of 10. Okay, 80-20. Let's look at entertainment as well. Often I find I'm seeking the new on Netflix. What's new? What's new? Where's the new movie? What's the new this? Instead of just relaxing into a mind space of, I don't need entertainment all the time. I can listen to podcasts. I can read a book. I can meditate. I can deep breathe. I can just be in silence, which seems boring. The mind, again, it wants excitement and variety, but often, again, I chase it. We look for the new movie, the new this, and then it's actually a shit movie, and then you've wasted an hour or two of your life. I would actually rather, now that I'm 46, spend that hour meditating in silence, which to somebody who is young, maybe, that might seem very boring, or to the, it depends on what mind frame you're in, but to that mind that is seeking, that's boring. But to me, who wants to come home to herself this year, I really want to land in myself, if you know what I mean. I want to even not seek the thrill of constant entertainment. I want to be boring in my exercise too, and I invite you to do the same. The way to build your dream body is to have a constant, simple, boring exercise routine that you do on repeat. Now, you can switch it up. Of course you can, but you need to stick to something for at least 3 months to see results. So pick a weight training program and or a cardio program, or you do a bit of both. Let's say you do weights 4 days a week, cardio 2 or 3 days, or however you want to split it up. You need to stick to that. And that can feel repetitive and it can feel boring. And even weight training can feel repetitive because you're doing the same moves not every session. I split it by body part, but you do the same moves. So every Tuesday, you're doing the same thing. Every Wednesday, you're doing the same thing. After 8 weeks, your mind can say, look, this is getting repetitive. But that is how you build muscle. That is how you build a body that you are proud of. So make your exercise routine as boring as possible, and you will see huge changes. Or you won't see huge changes, I mean, unless you're taking steroids or something, but you'll see enough progress to keep you going. I also think, let's look at sleep. We should be very boring about our sleep. We really should. I mean, if you listen to Brian Johnson, he goes on and on about sleep hygiene, sleep routine, having a set bedtime. And I agree. I love going to bed at 8 o'clock every night, fall asleep somewhere between 8:30 and 9. I'm up at like between 4:30 and 5. I love it. It's great. I feel good. It's so boring. It is so lovely. And that is where I love my boring routine. What about just allowing, this goes back to entertainment, but allowing your mind to just get bored, to just sit there and be bored. And that's where creativity comes from. There's so much research on boredom and how we need to allow ourselves to be bored. And when you hear the psychologists talk about children, how we actually should allow them to get bored, that's when they go outside and they play, and then their imagination sort of sparks to life. So boredom fosters creativity. So boredom is actually the antidote to boredom. I know there's a paradox, but boredom itself just leads to a blossoming of creativity. So don't fear boredom, just embrace it. What about, I've also got here, as a parent, 2025, I want to be the most boring parent ever. What does that mean? It means a parent that is super, super reliable, super, super consistent, means I do the same things on repeat every day. Look, I am the boring parent. I am a boring parent, which I love. It means I'm very reliable. My son can predict what I'm going to do, where I'm going to be, how I'm going to respond. He knows the rules. He knows me. And children like that. They need that. I'm happy to be a boring parent. So I look forward to more of that in 2025. I invite you to think about just being boring. What about in work? Even in work, if we just keep doing the things that we do consistently, putting in the same effort, like for me with YouTube, the more boring I am, meaning the more consistent I am, not boring in the videos. Well, maybe some of the videos are boring, I don't know, but be more consistent with my uploads and have more of a set thing that's more, I don't know what the word is, maybe it is repetitious, something that's more set that you guys can come to expect. That could be also quite successful. But even in our work, we just have to do the actions day in and day out. It's the repetition. It's the same old, same old. It's the dailiness, the daily grind. And we have to do that for work. And that is also where success lies. It's in the repetition. This year, this is a big one for me. I aim to be boring in my clothes. In the last year, what I did was I tried to switch up my outfits for YouTube often, always having a new top, something different to look at. And I thought, that's all good and well, but I've actually wasted money. I've actually wasted money on stuff for YouTube when that's not really where the value lies. The value lies in what I'm giving you, the content, the talking. And so I'm not buying new clothes just to look different on YouTube. I also realized that is it's a rabbit hole for wasting money. It's just going down this empty, vacuous hole. If I need clothes in my life, I will buy them, but not just to look different. And I invite you to do the same. If you have enough clothing, you do not need to buy new clothes this year. And ultimately, I don't need anything new. If I see something that is really worthwhile buying, I will do it. But this year, I'm not going to chase like last year. I was chasing, how do I present myself? Always a new top, a new color, something different. I've invested in a whole lot of earrings from Shein, and that's enough. I'm going to stop. So with the fashion, I am done unless something is so amazing, wonderful, valuable, unique, different that speaks to me. But I want to be boring with my fashion. So what I have is what I have. And I aim to add very little. It'll save me money, it'll save me time, and I think it'll bring sanity back to me. My hair, well, I am boring with my hair, and I've learned through past mistakes, do not chase exciting hair. That is the worst thing you can do for your hair. Stick to a hairstyle, a hair goal, a hair look that you like, that you know is yours, that you know suits you. That is the key to healthy hair. Boring hair is healthy hair, meaning you can dye it or whatever. Like I've got bleached blonde hair, you can see that. But I now go to a lady, we only do the new growth. We don't over bleach the ends. So that is how I'm growing out healthy hair. In the past, if you want to chop and change your color and change this and try new things, that's fine. But that leads eventually to your hair just giving up because you've over dyed it, you've over cut it, you've over colored it, you've over processed it, maybe you've permed it, and your hair. So for me, I'm sticking to boring hair. This is the hair that I like, that works for me. I found what works for me. Boring. It's going to be the same for the whole year. Makeup as well, the same thing. I've tried a few new things. I've tried a few new cosmetics, and again, for YouTube, I'm like, why am I doing all this for YouTube when that's not what's going to move the needle? So I'm sticking to my usual makeup, my Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation, my trusty, what is the one, Colossal Volume, the Maybelline mascara, my trusty eyeliner. Like my makeup routine is simple. I'm going to keep it boring, keep it simple. You guys don't need me to appear here with fancy new different makeup. You need me to be present. And again, being present is boring because that is, I'm here now with life as it is. But that's what I need. That's what you need. Drinking in drinks. I'm going to be very boring this year. As you know, if you've watched my other videos, I've been talking about quitting alcohol. I've come to that decision. And again, it's a decision that I've struggled with because I was scared to be boring. Oh, I'm going to be seen as boring. People are going to think, oh, I'm not going to invite her. She's boring. But I realize again, there's freedom in being boring. And with drinks, with beverages, all I really need is water. And then I enjoy tea and coffee. The odd Coke Zero or the odd Sprite Zero, that's all I need. I don't need to chase excitement through what I'm drinking. I don't need to chase excitement through alcohol. I don't need to chase excitement through like the latest blended frappuccino, mochaccino, caramel, whatever. You know, they always come up with new flavors to sell you shit. And often you try these things and they're not nice, they're crap, and they're wasted calories. Or there's 1,000 new flavors. If you look at Fanta, there's Fanta grape, Fanta pineapple, Fanta blah, 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 I don't know, whatever, all these flavors. Again, they're trying to sell us stuff. It is a little fault of mine that I like to buy the new flavor, try the new thing, because I say, oh, life is boring. You know how many times I've done that and been disappointed. So that's why this year I want to be boring. Stick to what I know, stick to what I like, and just be boring. Don't deviate too much. I've wasted so much money trying new things. So with my drinking as well, you guys know that I've quit alcohol, and that I find so exciting, that the boring is so exciting. And then in general, I just think I don't even need to try too hard anymore. You know, when you hit 46, you don't have to try to be interesting or try to be this or that. From midlife onwards, you know who you are. And so it's just a lot easier to be boring and to find the joy in that. I think when you're younger, it's a time for exploring. It is a time to try new things. It is a time for variety. But I know that all the good things lie on the end of a boring year. So I want 2025 to be uneventful. I want it to be calm. I want it to be repetitive. I want it to be like doing the things that are meaningful to me, that will move the needle in the healthy, wonderful ways, the wholesome ways. I don't need excitement. Like I said, I'm swapping the nightclub for the running club. I'm swapping the nightclub for the gym club. And in fact, today is the 1st of January, 2025. And I went to gym. You can see I'm wearing my gym top. And it was so quiet. It was lovely. And there were all the gym regulars, just those few people. It was so nice. And I realized as we were chatting, like, you know, you chat a little bit more when it's just 8 or 9 of you in the club, in the gym. And there's far more real of a connection than if you're out at a party and it's loud and you're all drunk and dancing. No one's going to remember what happened, at midnight. But when you arrive there fresh, you've had a good night's sleep, we didn't do anything last night, that boringness I felt so good. I felt awake and aware, and it's a fresh start to a new year. And so I know already that the boring start to this year is the best start I could have had. So here's to a boring 2025. I wish you the same. May you have a very boring 2025. Love you guys. Bye.